So let us start today's class and we'll start here with package. Now, the basic definition of the package is a group or collection of similar type of classes, interfaces, and sub-packages, which are basically used to design one particular solution to a problem. So, what if there are a number of classes, interfaces, and sub-packages present inside a folder? We can still name it a package. Declaration is required obviously, but generally, if you want to know about the implementation of the package, it is represented like a folder. So inside a folder, if a collection of different classes are present, classes, interfaces, and sub-packages. Sub-package means one folder inside another. So subfolders are present where inside you have some more classes. So altogether, it is actually designed for a particular solution to a problem. So we can call it as a package. For example, suppose you are trying to make a system, automated system to control a particular company, and it is a ERP system, say, okay, ERP system of a company. So inside the company, there are a number of sub-modules present. So what we can do, we are not going to keep all the classes inside one particular folder. We can make some subfolders here, folders like inventory, then sales, HR, and inside this inventory, we will be saving only the inventory related classes. Those are basically designing the inventory system. Here the sales related classes, here the HR related classes. And to couple them together, some more classes are also needed to be here, which will be amalgamate all these things together. Okay, so this entire thing may be a package of ABC company. Okay, so basically when you are implementing it, you will make a folder here named under ABC, where you will be having a number of subfolders for every sub-packages you are having inside. There may be few more levels of sub-packages present over here. Okay, and apart from the folders, you will be having a number of classes or interfaces also present inside each of these folders. So together, it is actually a design of a package. So group of similar types of classes, interfaces, and sub-packages. Similar types means which classes or interfaces are basically designed to solve one particular problem. So related classes, related interfaces, which are required to solve a problem, we are keeping them inside a folder and we name it as a package. Package in Java can be categorized into two categories. One is the built-in package, another is the user-defined package. User-defined, obviously, you are going to create the package for yourself for a particular user-defined problem, solution of a problem. User-defined packages could be used. Apart from that, a huge number of built-in packages are pre-existing in the Java runtime environment. Okay, in the Java library, you are going to have a number of built-in packages. For example, the built-in packages are java.io, java.util, java.lang, then java.applet, and so many other things are present. Okay, so Java.io, Java.util, with the basic meaning behind it is Java is the package under which you have the subpackage IO. Java is package under which you have the util subpackage. Okay, so these are the subpackages. Basically, under it you may have some other subpackages. Under it you may have another level of subpackages. So this dot operator is basically going to create a path kind of a thing that you are going to include in your program. Okay, so packages are basically like this. Built-in packages are basically equivalent to with the header files in C. Whenever you try to incorporate some predefined functions in C, so where inside which header file that function is described, that header file you have to include with a hash include statement. Here also, if some predefined method or predefined classes you are going to use in your program, so what you have to do, you have to incorporate the package in which it is residing. Okay, so that part is needed to be done. Like if you are trying to use, say, scanner class. Scanner is a class used for taking input in a already formatted way, formatted input. Okay, so scanner class, if you are trying to take it in your program, if you want to use it in your program, so the scanner class is basically residing in java.util package. So in that case, what you have to do, you have to include this java.util package, and specifically the scanner class could be included, or else you can include all the classes present inside the util package. So that is what you have to do earlier, so that the scanner class could be used in your program. Okay. Similarly, all these packages are having some inherent classes. If you are going to use them, you have to incorporate the package first, and afterwards you will be able to use that class. Okay. Now, some built-in packages are present inside the header package, or the most big package present in the Java environment, that is the Java package. Under the Java package, as sub-packages, all these utilities are present. Okay. You may find some Java X package also that you are going to use for the swing operation. For the swing programming, this package you have to incorporate. So there is a difference between Java and Java X. Java X is actually like a plugin that you incorporate from the external side. So Java X stands for Java external. These all packages are internal packages which are coming in under this Java. So that means these are the internal packages. Okay, and this one is the external package. Whatever may be, whatever it is internal or external, all of them are built-in packages. So built-in packages are these, and apart from that, you can create your own package, and that is going to be the user-defined package. The default built-in package that is usable from any program without a special effort, that means you need not to include it with a specific statement. You can directly use it anywhere, that is java.lang. Lang stands for language. Okay, so java.lang, this package you need not to incorporate. This has already been incorporated. If it was not being that, so system class, you are using system.out.println. So system class, after that, string. System class, string class, integer class, then double class. These classes are present inside this java.lang, and easily, without incorporating this java.lang with a specific statement, we directly use the system, string, integer, double, object. These classes can be directly used anywhere. Okay, so this is the default package of Java. The default package of Java is java.lang. Now, why we should use package? Packages are used for prevention of preventing naming conflict. Like if in a program, if your program prog1.java is containing A class, B class, and C class. Similarly, prog2.java is containing A class, B class, and drivers. So when you compile, say you compile this prog1 first, so A.class, B.class, and C.class will be created in the folder. And after that, if you compile prog2.java, then that previous A.class is going to be overwritten by this A. The previous B class is going to be overwriting with this B.class and driver. So afterwards, if you try to execute prog1.java, then what will happen? The newly found A and B is there, which is not related with the old version of this A and B. So obviously you are going to have a problem over here. But now, if you segregate this program1.java and program2.java in two different packages or two different folders, then obviously where you are making ABC for program1.java, that will not be overwritten by the AB and driver that you make in the different package in prog2.java. So that kind of naming conflict will not arise. You can have same name classes in different applications if you save them in separate packages. So for each and every application, it is required to create a package for which is actually will be saving all the classes under that particular project. Okay. So under the project, you may not have the same name classes, but in between two projects, there may be that conflict. So that conflict will not arise if you segregate them into packages. Now, making searching or locating and usage of class interface enumeration and annotation easier. So obviously, if you segregate them into different domains, it will be easier for you to search. Providing controlled access of data and methods. Controlled access means some specific access specifier is there, which is specifying the access, which is restricting the access of a data or method only within the package, and that is the default access specifier. So default access specifier means within the package, all the classes can equally access that particular data or method. If you're using protected, then within the package, the access will be allowed. Along with that, outside the package, if you have some subclass, there also the access will be allowed. If you make the data public, then what will happen? Within the package, outside the package, from different package, from outside the environment, wherever you want, you can access the data. Okay, so providing controlled access of data, and this is being done using the default access specifier. This is being done using the default access specifier. Packages can be thus considered as data encapsulation or data hiding. So data encapsulation and data hiding is provided by the package also. Not only in the interface, not only by the class, packages also restrict the usage of the data and method. So it is having some part in data encapsulation and data hiding. Some more information about the package. Package names are and directory structures are closely related. So you can see the example that we have specified here. For example, a package name is hitk.it.second here. So that means hitk is the supreme package inside which the sub package it is there. Inside the it package, you have the second here. package. Okay, suppose you have a package structure like this. This is the HITK, under which you have IT, you have CSBS. Under this IT, you have some more sub packages like second year, third year. Here you have the first year, second year, in that way. Okay, so that means it is a hierarchy of the directories. HITK is the outside at the tree level, at the root level, sorry. Then on the next level, you have the CSBS and IT. Under that, you have a number of directories present over here. So this is actually a directory structure, which is being represented by the path of the package. So we can say that the package name and directory structures are closely related. So the root part will come here at the last, and afterwards, gradually you will dig down up to the level to which you want to go. Okay. Now, when you are moving to a certain level, or when you are moving, suppose your driver class is present here, from where you are trying to access the classes from here. So obviously, when you are trying to compile it, they will say that this is unreachable, or the file name is not found, the class is not found. So this kind of error will come if you want to compile the class normally. Okay. So in that case, you have to take the help of the class path, where you have to redirect the operator. You have to set a path in the environment variable of the operating system, so that if normally it cannot be found inside the same folder, so where to go, that thing you have to specify. Okay, starting from the root, you have to specify the entire path at the class path. I will show this demonstration how using the class path you can execute a code. We will show it afterwards. But the class path is required if from a different package, from a different location, you are trying to access the package which is also present in a completely different location. Okay, if the package is present inside the same directory, then problems are far less. But the problem will be more if you are present, your package is present in some different directory. So after that, the classes are needed to be in the directory associated with the package to incorporate them inside the package. Obviously, so if you want to include a class inside the package, inside the directory, you have to make it available. The packages are implemented as a directory structure. So the physical classes needed to be there on the folder which is named after that package you are incorporating. The source file containing code of those classes should start with package declaration as done like this. So if you want to incorporate the class inside a package, you have to incorporate it with, physically you have to save it inside the folder, but you have to start the coding, you have to start the source code with a particular statement that we call the package declaration statement. That will be like package, this is a reserved word, after a space, the name of the package you specify, case sensitive obviously, and a semicolon. This line is going to be the very first line of your code, and afterwards you can complete your code. Now, if you want to incorporate a package inside your program, a different package inside your program, so that means like the include statement. Here, it is called the important of the package import statement, import. So this will start with a statement import. If you have a package declaration, so that will be the very first line of your source code. After that, the import statement should be written. Okay, these positions are very specific. first package declaration if any. After that, import statements if any. After that, your code will begin. Okay? So in the import statement, what you need to write, the name of the package, after import, then space, the name of the package, and if it is present in some sub package, so name of the entire package part. After that dot, you have to give the name of the class that you are going to use afterwards. Okay? So it can be like import java dot util dot scanner. So afterwards, this scanner class you can use in your program normally. The scanner class only has been incorporated. But if instead of scanner, you want all the classes present inside the util, so you have to write import java dot util dot star. This star means all classes and interfaces which are present inside that package. So all of them will be incorporated. Now, somebody may say that why always this star is not used? If you always, then this default packages are having huge number of classes inside them. So all the classes will be incorporated in your code, and your code is going to be a large one, and it will take a huge amount of time to load it, as well as it is actually wasting the valuable space. So if you know that only scanner will be sufficient, just name it and you will be having the scanner class. But if you do not know, apart from the scanner, something else also will be required afterwards, then it is better to have that util.star. So completely on your discretion. One more thing regarding this, a very important concept. Suppose you have a package pack1, inside which you have a sub package pack2. Inside pack1 directly you have a dot class, b dot class. Inside pack2 you have c dot class, d dot class. Now, if you want to include all the classes present inside the package pack1, so what you should write? Suppose you want all A, B, C, D to be present in your program. So what you should write? Any answer from your side? If you want to incorporate all A, B, C, D inside your code, then what you should write?
Ma'am, import pack1 dot star.
If you write import pack1 dot star, then what will happen? A and B will be incorporated. C and D will not be there. If it is present inside a specific sub package, then sub package specifically needed to be included. So only one import will not do. You have to write import pack1 dot star, that is obviously there. Then pack1 dot pack2 dot star. This one is also required. Okay. So this is the point I was trying to say. If you just write import pack1 dot star, that means only the stray classes on interfaces which are included directly inside that package. It will not include any of the sub packages. If you want the sub packages, specifically you need to write the import statement. Otherwise, they are not going to come. Okay. So if you just write import java dot star, that will never include any of the classes present over there, because Java itself doesn't have any class. All the classes are segregated into different sub packages. So you have to name the specific sub package, and accordingly you will be getting the classes present inside them. Okay. So the next statement is basically like that. The sub package that are inside another package are called the sub packages. These are not imported by default. They have to be imported explicitly. So this is what I was trying to say. Okay. Now you may
Yes,
get a
ma'am.
question. You may get a question like, why always import package.star is not prescribed. So I think you can write the answer here. Okay. So earlier we had this kind of a statement. This is basically related with the access specifiers. Okay. So in the access specifier class, we had this example. We have two packages here, pack1 and pack2. One inside another, that is not the thing here. They are completely different packages present in different locations. Okay. Package 1 is having three classes, A, B, and C. Between these three classes, there is a relation like B is a subclass of A. B is extending the properties of A. And C is not related with A or B. So that is what we have in pack 1. In pack 2, we have a D class, which is again a subclass of A, but residing in different package. And we have another class E, which is not at all related with the family of A, B, and D. So this is a stray class present in this package pack 2. And this table is already known to you. 4 different type of access specifiers. Which one is accessible from where? So if you just go by the owner class, one owner class inside which you are declaring the variable or method, so it can access it inside it anywhere. Okay. Same package subclass, that means B. Now I'm considering A as the owner class. Okay. Same package subclass is the B. So it cannot access private. Private, apart from the owner class, private is not accessible from anywhere. Okay. So B cannot access private, C cannot access private, D cannot access private, E also cannot access private. Wherever maybe it is, apart from the class itself, the private value cannot be accessible from anywhere. After that, the next category is the protected. Protected means within the family and within the package. So if something is declared as protected inside A, it will be equally accessible from B, C, and D, but not from E. I told you within the family and package. So inside the package A, B, and C, so B and C will be able to handle it. And within the family, D is also there. So D also will be allowed. Default. That means if you do not suggest access specifier, by default it is a default access specifier. So in that case, only within the package, even if the class is a relative of yours or a subclass of yours, it cannot access the default data or method from the owner class. Okay. So different package subclass, that means D here, D cannot use the default value. After that, public. Public means open to all. So anywhere you can use the same data. The example like private A, protected B, default C, and public D. These 4 are declared inside A. So for B, apart from A, all others are accessible. Same for C. But when you go to the other package, D will be able to access B and D only. C and A will not be accessible. A is not accessible from anywhere. C also will not be accessible because it is falling in the default category. When you come to E, it can only access the public value or method. Apart from the public, it cannot access anything else. Access means if it is a non-relative class, obviously to access something from A, it has to create object of A, and through the object it has to access it. So only D is accessible, others are not. Okay. Now this is a pictorial format. So if you want to make it available in program, okay, program will come afterwards. Before that, this is a very important concept, static import. Static import statement. It is a very important feature which is present beyond Java 5 that allows member defined in a class as public static. This thing is very important. This only happens for the public static variables or methods which are declared as public static to be used in a Java code without specifying the class. Generally for a static, what we write? The class name and then the static variable or method. So that we need to write for the normal static. But if say ABC is declared as public static and this package, this class is imported in static nature, in that case, you need not to write this a.abc. You can directly write abc and that will be sufficient. Okay? For example, system.out.println. You are using this many a times now. So system is a class I told you. What is out and what is println? According to you, what should be out and what should be println?
Out is an object.
Out is an object. Sure.
For output stream, ma'am. For output to standard output for a standard output stream.
That is an object.
Yeah, I think so.
And println is a method.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, println is a static method. This is a static object. Sorry, println is not a static method. This is a static object. You are directly using it with the class name. Just inside the class system, this out is declared as an object. Out is an object, obviously. Out is declared as an object of some class. We will come to that afterwards. Of some class, like this say, and this is actually a static. So far, just by using system class name, you are not creating object of the system. You are directly writing the class name and the dot out. Okay. So this out is a object of some class and that has been declared as a member of the system class as public static. So if you can incorporate the system like static import, so you will be able to handle this out directly without taking the help of the system. So you can directly write out.println. Okay, so that is called the static import. You can come over here, import static. Now this thing you cannot change, like static import you cannot write. You have to write import, then static. Then whichever class you want to import as static. So system.lang.system. Java.lang.system. Java.lang by default is there, but as we are trying to make it a static import, we are writing this in this way. Okay. So java.lang.system. I think there is an error. It will be directly semicolon. So in that case, this system class is going to be a static import. Now apart, so after this, when inside your main function, you are trying to call the println function, you are directly writing the println in this way, out.println. You need not to write system.out.println. Why so? Because out is a public static member inside system. So whichever member is declared as public static, after static import, they will be self-sufficient. They need not to be imported, sorry, they need not to be called with the help of the class name. You can exclude the class name for them. So that this is called the static import, only available in the version of Java beyond 5. Coming to the previous example where we were. So this is basically the design of the package pack1. So if you can see in the package pack 1, we had 3 classes, A class, B class, and C class. B is a subclass of A, C is a non-relative, and inside A we had 4 variables of 4 different access specifiers, and we are trying to access them from the different classes as we have here. So you can see inside the package pack 1, the first .java file we have here is this one, this a.java. Okay. So the first package declaration is there, package keyword. After that, it is a part of the package pack 1. So pack 1 is this. It is the declaration of the package. After that, you start writing the code for the class A. Now remember one thing, when you are doing the program of package, everything that you want to access from outside needs to be public. The methods generally are public. The classes are generally public. So all the classes and methods are needed to be public, including the constructors. Otherwise, they will you will not be access them outside the package. Okay. So what I have done, class A, I have declared it as public. Then inside it, 4 variables. The private one I missed here. No, I'm not taking the private. Sorry. Because private is only accessible from inside. So private one we are not taking here. So protected int A, default B, and public C. And we have a constructor. Only a constructor is present, that is also declared as public. And through it, we can initialize all the values of this A, B, and C. And that's all for the class A. Now, one more thing. You may think about, like, all the classes can be a part of the same package. Yes, all the classes are part of the same package. Then why we don't write all the classes inside the same .java file or inside the same source code? The problem is with the public specification. When you make a class as public, that public class should be saved in a source code, always having the exact same after it. So public class A should be saved in a file with the same name like a.java. You cannot change it. Okay. Now we need all the classes to be public. How can you save it inside the same source code? You cannot do that. So inside the inside one source code, you can only have a single file, a single class that can be public. And after that, you have to name your source code. That is the rule. So if you need to have more than one public classes, you have to save them separately in separate .java files. Generally in industry, this thing happens. All the classes are present in separate files. So here also, as we need all our classes to be public, so we have defined them in different .java files named after them. On the next file, that is in b.java, we have a class B which is extending A, and we have a constructor as well which is sending the values to the superclasses constructor to initialize the value of A, B, and C. After that, we have a public void test B method which is trying to print the value of A, B, and C, and these are of the type of protected, default, and public, so easily can be accessible from a subclass. Similarly, we have this C class here which is present inside this C.java, and there we have this test C, and we have created an object of A here, and using that object we are trying to access A, B, and C from inside this test C, and we will be able to do that because all these 3 type of access specifiers are equally accessible from the same package non-subclass. Okay. Now, the driver class we have placed outside the package. There we have the driver class with the main function, and we are going to create objects of A, as well as object of B. Using the B object, we are calling test B. Using the C object, we are calling test C. So all these things are present in our main function, which is present outside the package. So when it is outside the package, we need to import the package pack1. I have written pack1 dot star because all these three classes we are going to use here. Okay. So if this is the scenario, in that case, you need not to have here any kind of class path statements. These are directly resolvable. Why? Because under the same folder as a subfolder, you have the pack1, and pack1 is discoverable from the outer folder where your driver class is present, where from you are trying to access the classes. So the pack1 folder is discoverable. If it is just in the next level where you are present, it is present in the just next level, so it is discoverable. You can see, the operating system can see where this pack1 folder is present. So you need not to specify the location of it. It will be directly understandable by your program. Okay. But if the scenario is something like this pack1 already we had, and we have a pack2, a completely different package, wherein we have a D class which is extending A. So this class is a part of the package pack2. So the package declaration is the first one. And the second thing is to incorporate the pack1 here. So pack1 dot start, that should be imported. This is small I, sorry. Similarly, here you have the E class, which is also a part of the package pack2 and importing the package pack1's classes. Okay. So you can see here. So apart from writing pack1.start, you can write pack1.a also, because only A class from pack1 you are using here. Similarly, in case of E also, you can replace this with pack1.a because only the A class that you are going to use here. But when you come to the driver class is also a part of the pack2. It is present in this package pack2. This is a small case. And you are importing all the classes from pack1, and all the classes are tried over here. You are trying all of them here. You can see in this D class, you can only access A and C, but B is not accessible, but as B was having the default access specification. So outside the package, it is not accessible. In this E, you can see it can only access C, which was public. The default and protected both are blurred here. Both cannot be used. Okay. Now, if you want to run this code, in that case, the class path will be required. As because, say, under a folder Java prog, we had pack1 and pack2. Now, I had made them as siblings. You can place this completely in a different location also. Okay. So some classes are here. I want to incorporate them here. But when you are present in this particular location, this pack1 is not discoverable from here. The siblings are not discoverable. They can only see the sub packages. They cannot see what are the sibling or the previous level packages are there. So if you have to get some paths from the previous level or from the sibling or from completely from different location, so you have to use the class path. Without taking the help of the class path, from different package, your program cannot run. Can you see this environment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
This is a basic Ubuntu environment we have for the Java run. Okay, you can see here I have a folder, already pre-created folder Java prog, inside which I have this package pack1, and I have compiled all this a.java, b.java and c.java to make them into classes a.class, b.class and c.class. You can see exactly same code as I have already shown to you. These are present. Okay, so this is the content of our package pack1. Now I have a driver class also. This is the code which is actually trying to import the package pack1, and we will try to execute it. So first of all, as we are outside the package, immediately outside the package, and we can see the package pack1 as a subfolder of the package, subfolder of this folder. So it is discoverable. You must not need any help of any class path to run or compile this code. So it got compiled, and if you run it, normally it will run. Normally it is running. But when you go to pack2, you can see here in this pack1 and pack2 are the siblings, as I have shown you. So inside the pack2 we have the d.class, e.class, and this is your driver.java. Need not to write this. This is the driver.java we are having here. So this is a part of your pack2. So we are also inside the pack2 folder. Now if you try to write the same thing here, so what is it showing you? It actually cannot find anything about A, B and C, as well as D and E. Nothing is discoverable to it. It cannot discover anything as the class path was not mentioned. So to mention it, what we can do, -cp stands for the class path. Before that, we need to know where we are. We will be having the help of pwd command. Now you can see, starting from the root, home, Shatarupa and desktop, inside which up to Java prog, inside which the pack folder is present. So this is up to the previous level. This is actually our class path. So we have to set class path up to this Java prog, not the complete one. Inside which folder your present folder or a present package is present, up to that you have to set the class path. Okay, got compiled? Because they can see now. Now when you are executing it, we have already set the class path up to the Java prog. So it will try to find out your driver.class that you are going to run from here inside the Java prog. Okay, because up to that you have set the class path. Now inside the Java progs, after the Java progs, where you have to go? So we have to write pack2. So inside the Java progs, go to pack2. After the class path, you have to specify where the driver class is present. Okay. Now, if the driver class is completely present in some different location, then the entire path you need to specify over here, starting from the root. Starting from the say root home, under Shatarupa you have desktop, and then you have C, then you have D, then you have E. Inside the E folder you have the driver class. So you have to specify the entire path to execute your driver class there. So this is the concept of the class path that is very much required for the purpose of execution of a package. Okay. So when you will be doing the program, your lab is following this actually. So when you will be doing the program, you will need this concept. And the last thing for today is the implementation of different relationships. So these things are already known to you. I'm just recapitulating the thing. So is a relationship is actually by the inheritance. We implement it using the inheritance. So shape, triangle is a shape. All the properties of the shape is going to be incorporated inside the triangle itself, as well as we are going to add some extra features to make it a proper triangle. Then aggregation means loosely coupled system. So here you can see the example is a team, a class team has been formed where we have an element which is an object of the player class, an array of the player class. Now, if the array length is a 0, so that means none of the players will be incorporated inside the team. If the player class is having a length of more than 0, so it is completely dependent on the value of this n. The value of this n is actually deriving the thing for you. If the n is 0, that means none of the players will be incorporated. If the n value is non-zero, then a number of players will be incorporated. So means 0 to n, any number of objects could be incorporated. If no object is coming to that, still the team will exist. Still the team class will exist. So that is the aggregation, also known as loosely coupled system. And composition is a tightly coupled system, means inside the car class, you are going to have a object of the engine class. So engine class object will be there always. It is not optional. When the n value is 0, there is no such object. When the n value is something else, there will be object. It is not like that. Always the engine object will be incorporated there. So without the engine object, your car class is going to be incomplete. So that is actually called the part of or tightly coupled system. So this aggregation is loosely coupled system, composition is tightly coupled system. And user relationship is completely a different one that is implemented by the inheritance. So that's all for today. Thank you. Now please answer to the roll call. 1.
Yes, ma'am.
2.
Yes, ma'am.
3.
Yes, ma'am.
5. 6. 7.
Yes, ma'am.
9. 10. 11.
Yes, ma'am.
12. 13. 14. Sorry, 17. 19. 20. Roll number 6, I've got you. 21. 22. 23.
Present, ma'am.
24. 25.
Yes, ma'am.
26,
Yes, ma'am.
28, 29,
29 present, ma'am.
30,
30 present, ma'am.
31, 32,
Present, ma'am. 32.
33, 34,
34 present, ma'am.
35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41,
Yes, ma'am. 41.
42,
Present, ma'am.
43,
Present, ma'am.
44,
Present, ma'am.
46,
Present, ma'am.
49,
Present, ma'am.
50, 51,